Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine, and you?
Fantastic.
I have something for you.
What's that?
Homemade marmalade.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's bio, there's nothing on. It's self-made, huh?
I appreciate it a lot. Thank you very much, Steve.
I hope you will like it.
I do. Well, Steve, thank you very much for being part of this. As you know, this is an initiative from the Center of Responsible Business and Leadership,
Yeah.
where we invite leaders of companies and organizations to tell us about what's going on in the field, those that are the real practitioners of the thing. Ageas is, to me at least, a company that is really doing its own work. And by the way, congratulations for the last sustainability report. I mean, it does really feel that sustainability is all over the place.
The heart that ticks.
So, and it's really well articulated, the things that you are doing, which makes me even more curious to know this sort of stuff. We prefer to call it responsible business. How do you ensure in a company so big like Ageas that the sustainability, responsible business is really part of a decision-making process?
I think it has to grow. I mean, the easiest part for any manager to say, now, as of now, you will include sustainability as part of your any process or any presentation. But I think that will not work. And we started already, as you know, many years ago. When we came in Portugal, I mean, sustainability, when I talked about sustainability, they thought it was a new brand of clothes or something. But
when was that?
7 years ago.
How many?
7 years
7 years ago, okay. Yeah.
And so, but people got to know that it has to be part of your culture.
Right.
Just like the caring is part of your culture, you have to educate people, you have to repeat, and they have to understand from the bottom that we only have one Earth, and there is no plan B, and there is nothing that we have to put that at the center. And so gradually what I do see is it automatically becomes part of the decision, because people are saying, yeah, but we have to think about this and we have to think about that. When we are in product design as well, in insurance, it's okay, but do we have sustainable products? How will we make sustainable products? How are we going to do that? And processes and procurement. And so you see that gradually, it takes a long time, but gradually it becomes part of your DNA of an organization, which for me is much better than to say, okay, the legislation says we have to do it, so let's do it and let's comply.
Right. Well, that leads me to the other question I have for you, which is about compliance. I mean, at the end of the day, as far as I see it, a few years ago, you mentioned 7 years, 10 years, there was still space for big companies to create competitive advantage because the space was empty. Now the space is becoming very crowded. Do you still believe there is place for companies to create some sort of competitive advantage, or is it just become part of license to operate?
Well, in my opinion, the space is still empty. Still today, it's empty.
Okay.
I mean, I might shock you, but sustainability is a luxury problem. It's luxury. Nobody does anything about sustainability. I mean, they talk a lot, there's a lot to be done, but if you really would want, I mean, I think that all organizations, in the end, should put the saving of Earth as an ultimate strategy. If you see what's happening in Scandinavia, in Portugal, in Italy, everything, I mean, people see that we cannot continue like that. And still, we have improved a bit. I mean, we're improving here, and people make initiatives, and it's very good that we're going there, but we're not going where we should be going. And that's mostly because there's a difference between, if you have an own company, you can decide yourself how far you go into sustainability. I can decide if Ageas Portugal would be mine, I could say, okay, guys, this is very important. Let's dedicate 50% of all profit to sustainable projects. But you're in a framework of stock-listed companies, of shareholders.
Right.
And so if you would take all the organizations and look what percentage is invested in sustainability, it's just a drip on a hot plate.
But so you still believe there is space for companies to create a competitive advantage?
But a lot, but not only competitive advantage. I think that the challenge is so big, a company on its own cannot solve it anymore.
Okay.
So you have to go through radical collaboration. Companies from different areas, even from the same sector, have to get together to solve problems. And so there's a whole space to be done, and not always thinking in competitive. I mean, we have to go in those difficult problems, which is financial literacy, poorness, prevention. We have to work together to solve things.
Which is an interesting point. Which leads me to another question, which is, I mean, you are a key or very key player in the insurance industry. What does it take to in a way to take the industry, the whole insurance industry, to a different level of performance, where sustainability will be more and more at the core of the business? What does it take to get there,
I think
as an industry?
First, I think there's the awareness. I do not believe that everybody is still totally aware of where we're going with our economy and towards what it will lead in the end for our grandchildren and the children, grandchildren of our grandchildren. So the knowledge is key, making people aware that we cannot continue in the same way. Secondly, bringing initiatives which they support. For example, we probably will come out and work together with the insurance industry on prevention.
Right.
Because you cannot solve health of Portugal with one insurer. It should be a common approach.
Right.
And so gradually I see that this is living, and inviting more and more industries to join, to not to compete, but to join to solve fundamental societal problems.
But do you see things changing in Portugal? At least in the issue?
I do.
Okay. That is great. Fantastic. Steve, well, now let's move to another thing that is, I know it's close to your heart, which is education. You are kind enough to come to my classes from time to time, and I mean, you are always a very provocative guy when you come to the. Basically, on the last one, if I remember correctly, you basically said, "Don't really pay too much attention to teachers because I mean, they don't. You will forget everything, and what you need to know, it's completely different."
No, I didn't say you will forget. I said that most teachers, what they say is wrong. That's even worse. Because if you go back in history, what I said is that what professors told students 200 years ago,
yes,
some of it is right, but most of it has proven wrong 200 years later.
Okay.
I can probably predict that what a lot of professors are saying today, in 200 years, will be proven same wrong. And that's important that students, that's the message I gave.
Yes.
That students have to remain very critical to what professors are saying and continuously ask why, and why can it not be this, and why can it not be that, and not accepting just as truth what has been said. Always challenging.
So, what sort of advice you will give me? I'm about to start a new academic year in terms of basically about this new world, sustainability, and more than the way I teach. But I mean, I'm not myself, but the faculty in large. What sort of advice would you give to academia?
Well, it's my style, of course. I would provoke much more. I mean, I don't know if you know Helmi Abouleish.
No.
I mean, you have to look him up. It's a great guy. I mean, he is making the
Say
desert.
it again. What's the name?
Helmi Abouleish.
Okay.
From Egypt.
Okay.
He's making the desert green again.
Oh, I've heard of that guy.
He's
yes.
a fantastic guy. His wife Constance as well. And we were discussing with a guy who was really, an activist of sustainability, but he was traveling from one country to another. And I still hear Helmi saying, "But your shirt, is that from is that biotextile, or is it bought in any shop with and where it has been made, or?" And he said, "But you're flying. I see you're flying from Argentina to there. What do you do about? I mean, why don't you solve things in Argentina? Why do you come here to Egypt to solve things when you have so many problems in Argentina?" And so he was pointing out a lot of individual things. You don't need to take a plane from Argentina to Egypt to help solving problems. You can also stay in Argentina, and you can also look at do you really need to buy oranges that come from Chile or pineapples that come from another country, when you can look and see that they are from Portugal, so that you don't have these costs of having vegetables and fruits flying all over.
Well, but that's you bringing the point of the new generations as well, which is a very interesting one. I mean, do you also see that, which is this feeling that sustainability really attracts and retains talent these days?
No.
For the company?
No. I see that they go on city trips whenever they want. So it's cheap. It's for 50 euros I go to Rome for 3 days. The pollution is the same, but it's 50 euros. I see that, well, might be again too critical, but I see that many people just change if money is offered. They want to work for another company, even if it's not sustainable.
So you don't think that's a decision factor for them to join a company?
Yes. Well, what I do see is, I mean, I have a half an hour discussion with all people who come to the company, where previously sustainability was not part of my discussions.
Okay.
Now I would say already 3 to 4 out of 10 are saying, you know, I came to Ageas, firstly because my friends recommended to come here, big for the culture, but you really are a difference in society.
All right.
And I want to work in a company that has impact in society.
Well, it's 40% of them.
Okay, yeah. But nevertheless, I think if somebody would come and offer 30-40% more salary and do not have the sustainability, I do believe that it would be gone.
Well, there are studies that say they are ready to give up 15% of the salaries to work for companies. I mean, as I always say, I mean, people to work anywhere for any sort of price, there will always be.
Yeah.
But the talent, I mean, I guess that there will be more and more of those that will be choosing companies like Ageas. At least you're saying 4 to 5. Steve, it was really great. Thank you very much, sir. Welcome.
Enjoy.
And I will be calling you to my classes.
No problem. And please tell me your feedback on the marmalade.
I will.